Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Land Bank. This is the December meeting. I'm City Councilman Bobby Wilson, the chair for the Pittsburgh Land Bank. And our first order of business is, I'm sorry, I'm going to do an announcement here, which is today Land Bank met immediately prior to this meeting for an executive session. The topic of the meeting was real property transactions, along with a briefing on the proposed URA cooperation agreement and the PLB's 2025 budget. And with me, we have board members and um, our land bank manager, Sally Stademan. Sally, could you please take the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And let me just confirm, can everyone see my screen?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. All right, Councilman Bobby Wilson,
Here.
Councilman Daniel Lavelle. I saw Councilman Kahari Mosley. Director Wanda Wilson.
Present.
Director Jennifer Cash Wade.
Here.
Director Kirk Berkeley.
Present.
Director Steve Mazza.
Here.
Director Tamara Dudikovich.
Here.
Director Tammy Thompson. All right, back to you, Chair.
Thank you. That moves us into public comment. So please raise your hand for there's the raise hand function on the Zoom right at the bottom there. You'll see raise hand. At the bottom of the menu, so you can speak during public comment. We'll call on you as we see the hands raised. And to begin, please state your name, neighborhood, and or your organization affiliation. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Sally, do you have any? Well, actually, I can see it.
Yes, we do have. Yes, we do have 2 registered speakers, and I apologize, I just lost my participants list.
Okay, there's attendees.
Yes.
But
the
attendees.
I know that, yes, and the first speaker, registered speaker should be Daniel Acevedo. You can see.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, Daniel, please begin.
I'm just gonna get to my notes. I apologize. So, my name is Daniel Acevedo. I live in Troy Hill, and I have questions about the sale of the vacant property directly to the left of the property that I own, 1811 Rialto Street. I did not have a chance to, and I know I was going back and forth because I did have interest in purchasing the property. I expressed that before the sale of the property to the Yard House, and I did notice that the property had been sold before I had a chance to get the sufficient information that was required. I still have not been able to get that, unfortunately. I mean, just with the time frame, I was not able to get that, but I do have questions in relation to the sale of that. And if, for example, is the Art House subject to the same scrutiny as someone who's purchasing for the residents, like purchasing it for their primary residence? I know that just talking about it a little, that the property had to be demolished down to the foundation. So I was curious if the Art House was subject to that same scrutiny. I believe that I was told that I had to live there for a specific amount of time as well. I was curious if they were also subject to that same type of scrutiny. And then I also have questions surrounding the damage that has occurred to my property from all of the infestation of wildlife and invasive foliage that's happened there I've been here for almost 8 years. And I also have questions in relation to whether that sale is final, or is it, and if so, is it possible to purchase the yard portion that we've been doing our best to maintain, since there was no ownership of it? And if I didn't, I mean, I just had major issues with the ivy and all the animals and people that have been there through the years.
Okay. If you don't have any further comment, thank you, Daniel. Board members do not generally respond to public comments, but we will. We do have discussion during our public votes, so that's a time when we'll most likely address some of the concerns that you're talking about. Thank you. Next speaker.
So let me pause for a moment. I don't see any other raised hands in our attendees list. Any other attendees that would wish to make public comment? Okay, we have no raised hands, Chair, so back to you.
Okay, great, Sally. Thanks. So move on to Chairman's report, which brings us to the approval for the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the November 2024 board meeting minutes?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of the minutes, please report by saying aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or noes? Okay, motion passes. Next, we have motion to if there's a motion to cancel the January board meeting, and I believe, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at some of my notes here. Sally, if you could walk us through some of the details of canceling the January board meeting.
Yeah, so the URA and Land Bank are closed the first week of January, which means that what staff return to work January 6th, and then the board meeting is at the end of that week. So we don't expect to have time to have any new agenda items for board members. Hence the proposal to cancel the January meeting. The URA board is also not meeting. And then Chair, whenever you're ready, I will actually read this motion just so we have the exact correct wording in the record. So let me know when the board is ready.
I think we're ready.
Okay, so motion to reschedule the annual meeting and move the executive committee nominations to coincide with the public meeting of the PLB Board of Directors on February 14th, 2025.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please report by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstentions or noes? Not hearing any. Okay. Motion passes, which moves us on to the approval of the 2024 annual report. We see in front of us, we have the slide. Looks like a nice slide, Sally. Would you like to?
Yeah, Chair, just a couple of notes. So this is the report that is required by the land bank ordinance to be submitted to City Council by December 31st of the calendar year. So that report will be submitted to Council and made public on our website, and just lists out what we have in our inventory and what we have coming and who we're intending to sell to. We've completed 11 sales this year, and we've got 66 properties in our inventory.
Right. Is there a motion to approve this annual report?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? All right, without hearing any, motion passes. That moves us on to our treasurer's report. And Director Wilson, if you could, I'll pass the baton to you, the virtual baton to you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have our November financials to review. This is our P&L, our income statement through the end of November. And then our next slide is our balance sheet as of the end of November. Again, we have a very healthy balance sheet with our total equity position at $1.1 million. So this is a strong financial position for the land bank. And we do have November expenses for approval today. They're listed here on the slide. Pretty standard items for going to a conference and, buying some supplies and tools and things. Otherwise standard standard expenses. So I will put forth this motion to accept the November 2024 financial report and approve the November monthly expenses. Happy to have any discussion.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion on the finances? If not, I just want to say one, we're coming to full year here where you've taken on the financial side of it as treasurer. So I really appreciate the work you put into making sure we're on the up and up with that. Thank you.
No, sure. Yeah, thank you.
All right. And
Our
all in
next-
favor? I'm sorry, say.
Oh, right.
I was gonna, all in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Okay, motion passes.
The other expense that we have to approve is our invoice with the URA for our staffing costs. So this gets us through the end of 2024. We've calculated the amount that we owe for our staff costs for the third and fourth quarters of 2024. And so I will put forth this motion to approve payment of the URA quarterly staffing invoices for the third and fourth quarters of 2024, not to exceed $175,977.72 using ARPA funds.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, if not, all in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Our motion passes.
I apologize. Who was the first? I'm sorry.
Uh,
I didn't catch.
Director Wilson did make the motion.
Yeah, I actually made the motion as
Oh,
treasurer.
sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
My apologies.
It's all good. It's all
No worries.
Thank you. Thank you, Miana. Oh, and then, sorry, do we just want to pause 1 second and recognize members that have joined us? I think I've seen Director Thompson and Councilman LaBelle.
Yes, I'm here and I apologize for being late.
I'm here.
Okay,
all
great,
good. Thanks for
you.
joining us. And that moves us on to C, the budget.
Yeah, so we're happy to have the budget ready for approval today. Staff have done a huge amount of work. So Sally has crunched so many numbers and put together so many tabs in a complicated spreadsheet to get our numbers ready for 2025 budget. So thanks, Sally, for all your work on this. And it's exciting what this budget is going to allow the land bank to do in 2025. And, you know, just to give kind of a broad overview, we have all of that crunching of spreadsheet, you know, tabs and everything really is to allow us to do about over 100 transactions, nearly 125 from, you know, the properties we've already acquired from the city, plus some additional ones, being able to take some donations and properties at sheriff's sale. So that's really exciting work that we're going to be able to do. I would highlight that in the revenue section, you know, we have some ARPA dollars as by and large the largest chunk of funding in the budget, which again is really going to allow us to put the pedal on the gas to do all of this great work. But it isn't, you know, it's a one-time source of funding that we won't see again in future years. So just wanted to point that out so the board is very well aware. But, again, we'll be able to accomplish a lot and really be able to spend down those funds. The budget does include 2 additional staff positions to just simply get all the work done, because that's a lot of properties to move through the process. So we have looked at this in detail and are very confident in these numbers. And again, it was a ton of work, so I appreciate all the work Sally did to put the spreadsheet together. And and then we bring it to you today for approval. And again, as treasurer, I will make the motion to approve the budget for the Pittsburgh Land Bank for 2025 as presented today to the board.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Is any directors like to ask questions about this action that we're taking? The budget? Any general questions? Okay, well, if not, I'll just say that I want to once again thank Director Wilson and Manager Sally Stadelman for putting this together and the review process. And I think we're all eager to look towards the future and look at ways that the land bank can be sustainable for the future, because this ARPA money is a one-time allocation from the city, and that will be going away. So looking forward to those discussions. If there isn't any other comments, if not, everyone in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or
Aye.
abstentions? Great, motion passes. That moves us on to staff updates. And
All right, thank you, Chair.
thank you, Sally.
Great. So we're gonna just quickly flip through our current inventory updates. We're moving the vast majority of our property is either completed a quiet title action, or we're kind of rounding the corner. We've got a couple of sales that we hope to finish out by the end of the year. Let's just click through a few of these here. So these are our typical projects here. We're excited to report that we feel confident that the majority of our existing inventory we should be closing by the end of Q1 next year. We've got a couple of before and afters of some of the work we've been doing. One of our buyers, Pittsburgh Housing Development Corporation, who's rehabbing properties to sell to 80% AMI buyers. We've been able to get started on some clean out and demolition. So looking forward to having more before and after pictures here in the coming year. Again, majority of property is making its way through the quiet title hearing process. You see QT abbreviated anywhere, that stands for quiet title, with some pending closings. We don't have any updates on the conservatorship properties in Garfield. Those have not progressed out of the conservatorship, so no updates here. Additional properties we've been acquired earlier this year. Everything moving along in the quiet title action. And then the remaining parcels that we expect to acquire here soon from the city of Pittsburgh. And we've got a couple of closing sales here as well. So we do have some open objection periods. We did receive an objection for the sale approved at the November board meeting for 1815 Rialto Street for the Troy Hill Art Houses. Concern from the neighbor, who we also heard from during public comment. So that objection was shared and circulated with board members. So I want to pause here if would the board like to take any additional action pertaining to that objection or sale? Okay. So seeing no comment, just to kind of address a couple of so the Troy Hill Art Houses did have to submit an application and demonstrate they had the budget capacity and experience to rehab a property that is severely deteriorated as 1815 Rialto. I've also been in contact with the neighbor, so I'm hoping we can get out there and meet and discuss the survey that the land bank completed to talk about those property lines and any additional maintenance issues going on with the property. And then with that, I will just also mention that we have a couple more open objection periods, 826 and 828 Shawnee, which is to be sold to Pittsburgh Housing Development Corporation in the Hill District, Lincoln Avenue, which is the Habitat for Humanity new construction affordable housing project, and the side yard sale on Dearborn Street. If anyone is interested in sharing feedback on any of our board approved sales, they can visit our website at pending sales City of Pittsburgh, just the source of the properties. And they can fill out our form either to share an objection or feedback. Okay, moving on, just no updates on our property reserve. Well, I will say, so Brighton Heights Citizens Federation they are working to try and find alternative buyers for these McClure Avenue's properties for a potential affordable housing project. And discussions are ongoing with the Hill CDC properties. And the Nadir Way property here has been transferred to the URA. Next, we have we've been at work preparing our pilot residential rehab structures for sale. So we have completed the cleanouts on High Street. We're working to finalize the contract with our realtor to have those listed. So stay tuned. And we have our 1611 Antrim Street listed on Zillow. It's currently available for sale. And as a reminder, our requirements for our applicants is we're looking for a demonstration of proof of financing and a basic rehab plan to be able to complete the rehab needed to occupy the home. Finally, a couple of staff updates. We did complete our presentation to City Council, our capital budget hearing on December 4th. That is available on the City Channel YouTube page if anyone is interested in watching. Just a reminder to our board members that we will be electing our executive committee at what will now be our February annual meeting. And finally, the land bank offices will be closed between December 30th, Monday, December 30th, and Friday, January 3rd. Okay, with that, Chair, I'll take it back to you.
Thank you, Sally. And that brings us to the action items. We have 12 actions. And so I'm willing to read them. It's so different not being in person.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Let's move on to Sally. Would you read the first action item?
Yes, authorization to enter into a cooperation agreement for services and facilities with the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh for reimbursement of PLB staff salaries and URA staff hours spent on services and project execution.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All right. There's a action on the table. So is there a discussion? Any directors have any discussion about this? All right, all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any abstains? Noes? Okay, motion passes. Moves us on to our resolution number 112. Sally?
Great. So I will pause here to give the board just an overview of the next, I believe, I want to say six. The next 7 resolutions. So these properties are all proposed to be brought into the land bank through our pilot residential rehab program. I've been working with the Perry Hilltop and Fineview Citizens Councils and City Finance since the summer to schedule walkthroughs of these properties and to have them evaluated to make sure that they're structurally sufficient to be brought into our residential rehab program. This proposal was presented both to Perry Hilltop and Fineview's Housing Working Group and their board, who did vote to approve or support land bank acquisition with the intent of acquiring, stabilizing, and listing these for sale for owner occupants. And we feel confident based on current resale numbers that both will be able to sell properties at a place where I think the land bank will at least break even, and will also give potential owner occupants lots of cushion to be able to be lent the funding necessary to complete the rehabs on these properties. And I'll say on 115 Hawkins in particular, we had actually placed 2 additional properties into the treasure sale on behalf of PHFCC, and unfortunately those did not make it through the treasure sale process into the city's inventory. So this is that remaining property, but this is next to a property that has just been rehabbed and completed for sale by the City of Bridges Community Land Trust. So as a way to help support and stabilize a street where there's already been this significant public investment. The house is, of course, that porch looks a little bit scary, but the house itself is square, of course. So
Okay,
I'll pause there for, yes, any questions
Well,
or
let's get a motion on the table here so we can officially discuss here. So is there a motion to approve resolution number 112? I'm sorry, Sally, did you read the?
Yes, you know what? Yep. And let me do that. I will do that right now. Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 115 Hawkins Street, Block 77 and Lot 321 in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelopes at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All right. Discussion. I know we just heard, quite a bit about this property, but any further discussion on this resolution 112? If not, everyone, please report by saying aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? Our motion passes. Moves on to 113. Sally?
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 2417, oops, let me advance the slide here. 2417 Osgood Street and 0 Osgood Street, which is the city-owned parcel next door, is a side yard. And the adjacent side lot, 0 Osgood Street, Block 46G, lots 41 and 42, in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the properties for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelopes at a cost not to exceed $40,000 using ARPA funds.
Right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And the discussion regarding the address is, this resolution number 113 of these on Osgood Street here. Sally, any relevant information before we take the vote?
Again, just this is going to be one of the 7 properties in Perry Hilltop and Fineview, intended to be listed for sale for an owner-occupant to rehab.
Great. All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes, abstentions? Motion passes. That moves us on to Resolution 114. And Sally, would you please read the resolution?
Yes. So I get my coordination here. Here we are. Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 2316 Perrysville Avenue, Block 46K, lots 130 in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelopes at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Right. Is there a, sorry, screen went blank for a second. Where are we? We are in the, we already did the motion, right?
No, motion.
Again, we have a motion to approve. Thank you.
Second.
And any discussion? No?
And I'll just mention, I think this house looks maybe especially scary in this picture, but is structurally stable, and also it's important for the next property we're about to approve right next to it. I think the 2 of them need to move together. There are 2 houses of similar size, more or less on the same block, that have sold within the last year, and people are beginning to start work on them.
And I love those, the stone wall there, at the bottom. Be great to see that restored. All right. All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes, abstentions? All right, motion passes. That moves us on to resolution number 115. Sally?
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 2314 Perrysville Avenue, Block 46K, lots 129 in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Discussion regarding this property?
This one is, again, adjacent to the one we just saw. So I think the 2, moving the 2 of them together is going to be where we're going to see success in making sure they can be returned back to the tax rolls.
Any further discussion? All right, please report by saying aye if you're in favor.
Aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? All right, motion passes. Moves on to 116. Sally?
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 2526 Perrysville Avenue, Block 46B, Lot 90 in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And discussion. Sally, you could start us off, and if other members have questions, that'd be great.
Yeah, so this is this one actually just came into the city's inventory over the summer. Was placed in the we placed it in the 2023 treasurer's sale, and it is an incredible house. I'm really very excited to see this. All of the original woodwork is still there. So I'm really very excited to help get this one back on the market and in the hands of a responsible owner. So I wish I could get, you can't really see the property from the street at the moment because of the overgrowth. So that'll be one of the first things that we will address once it arrives to the inventory.
Neighbors will love it. Any further discussion? All right, great. All those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? All right, motion passes. Moves us on to 117.
Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 435 East Burgess Street, Block 46G, lots 206 in the 26th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out the structures, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. There was a second, right?
Yes, second.
Great, thank you. Discussion, Sally?
Oh, I just want to make one correction for the board here that this should say Fineview. This property is located in the neighborhood of Fineview. But again, another property for our residential rehab program.
Any discussion? Any other members want? I have a question. Whose bike is that?
That belongs to, you can actually see one of the finance staffers in this picture, and that belongs to
Oh, you don't have to
a
name
board.
names, but it's a,
Yeah, as a board member of the Fineview Citizens
Gotcha,
Council.
gotcha.
So
Okay.
you know.
Yeah.
A
I
well-known
understand.
member of the Fineview Citizens Council who
There's not someone living there currently.
No. This
Okay.
is a very vacant house. I think I had mentioned before, we brought along, part of this is, is educational. We wanted to make sure that we had the Perry Hilltop Fineview executive director with us as well. We wanted to make sure that they saw the condition of these properties and what it was that we, what it takes to get these back on the market. And why it's so important that we need to be moving. And intervening sooner rather than later.
Okay. Although, if there's any further discussion, please speak now. If not, all those in favor, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes, moves us on to resolution number 118. Sally?
Right, and this is our final residential rehab property authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 1907 Meadville Street, Block 46R, Lot 109 in the 25th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale, including quieting the title, cleaning out structures, and sealing the building envelope at a cost not to exceed $32,000 using ARPA funds.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. We're in discussion mode. Sally, before you give us some details on what we're looking at here, I believe, can our city channel, can you allow Councilman Mosley to be added as a panelist?
Oh, yes.
I'm at it now. I'm in. Thank you.
Okay. All
Thank
right.
you, Councilman.
No problem. Thank you to our staff at the city channel. Appreciate it. All right. Yeah. In the discussion phase, Sally, if you want to provide some details on what we're looking at here.
So this is a row house. As you can see, it's an attached row house in Fineview. This property there's actually an interested buyer. So we're who had already reached out to the city, but there is a hole in the roof. So we're interested in being able to acquire it so we can quickly patch that and prevent additional deterioration while we quiet the title. Hence why it is on this list today. But yeah, otherwise, this one actually might even be in the best shape with the exception of that small hole in the back.
Any questions about this property? I have to say, this is like Christmas for me, all these different structures that we're looking at here in the details, fixing the hole in the roof, and then these other properties, clearing the front of it so you can actually see the property. So no one has to give me anything for Christmas now. All right. This is 118. Great. All in favor of 118, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Our motion passes. That moves us on to 119. Sally?
All right. So this is an exciting new pilot that we are a new acquisition process for the Pittsburgh Land Bank that I'm presenting to the board today. So this property came to us because the owner reached out. He had thought over 10 years ago that this house had been foreclosed on. Had no idea that he still owned the property. And likely through receiving a PLI violation, discovered that all these years later, the bank had actually not foreclosed on the property and it was still in his name. So now there's been significant tax accumulation. We were coordinating with PHDC and they went out and reviewed the property. And feel that, despite this overgrowth you're seeing in the front, it's actually in quite nice condition. And that they can fold this project into an existing work that they're doing in the neighborhood of Marshall Shadeland. So the proposal today, what this process will look like, and of course we've pulled a title report to make sure there's nothing that we don't expect that we can't clear away with a quiet title action.
Would you mind going out that door? So I'm sorry.
So we've reviewed the property, we've pulled the title report, and so at this point I'm coming to the board for approval. And then if the board approves this acquisition today, we will then proceed with reaching out to the 3 taxing bodies to inquire as to whether or not they are willing to waive the taxes. If they say yes, then we would move forward with accepting this property as a donation from the current owner. This is a little bit timely because there is a sheriff's sale. It has been stayed until the end of January. So that's also played into why I'm coming before the board today. And actually, so sorry, let me pause there and I will read the authorization. So Chair, you can get us into discussion. Apologies for mixing that up. Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 1250 Thelma Street, Block 45E, Lot 297 in the 25th Ward from the City of Pittsburgh, and to prepare the property for sale at a cost not to exceed $16,000 using ARPA funds, and authorization to convey the same property to the Pittsburgh Housing Development Corporation.
Their motion.
So move.
There's a second.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion about this?
Yes, apologies for doing that backward. I'm just I'm thrilled to be bringing this before the board today because this is a problem throughout the city. I've talked to many folks over the years and expect to speak with many more in this role, where people have walked away from property because they thought it was foreclosed upon, and then it's deteriorated and the taxes have accumulated to the point where there isn't anything, they can't sell the property if they wanted to. So we're a crucial intervention tool with our ability to waive back taxes to be able to get these properties moving back along and occupied.
And the meeting with PHDC went well. They're willing to be this direct sale to the buyer.
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. And they'll complete a rehab of the property before it will go back out on the market, and it will be sold to an 80% AMI owner-occupied buyer.
And they do the verification of the 80% AMI.
Yes, they do.
Okay. Any other further discussion about this? All those in favor of resolution number 119, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes. That moves it. I'm sorry, did someone say something? Okay. That moves us on to resolution number 120. Sally, you please read the resolution.
Yes, this is the final but maybe most exciting acquisition we've got today. Authorization for the Pittsburgh Land Bank to acquire 7604 Mulford Street, Block 175C, Lot 35 in the 25th Ward from the city. Oh, apologies. From in the 25th Ward, and to prepare the property for sale at a cost not to exceed $52,000 using ARPA funds.
Their motion.
Motion.
There's a second.
Second.
Thank
Second.
you. And discussion.
So this is also a new process, one that we will probably use fairly rarely. But this important, this important historic landmark, this was the former home of Teenie Harris, the well-known photographer. And it had actually been placed up for sheriff's sale. So we had an opportunity to purchase the property at sheriff's sale to prevent it from, so that we are then able to work with Preservation Pittsburgh and the Teenie Harris Foundation to make sure that this property is preserved as an asset for the community.
Any further discussion? Sally, since we acquired this at sheriff's sale, the quiet title amount here is the same as other quiet title, in our charts on the agenda is for $3,000. That doesn't change with the sheriff's sale.
Yeah, Chair, thanks for pointing that out. So, I had that in there just in case. It is unlikely we will need to file a quiet title action on this property. There are some outstanding PWSA liens, so we're expecting to use our standard request process to request the waiver of those liens. But one of the reasons that it was important to purchase this directly from sheriff's sale is it addressed the clouded title on the property. So we actually, so, and we'll also need to file an exoneration to address any inheritance taxes. That will likely cost us around $500. So just to be cautious, as it is included, but it is unlikely we'll spend that amount.
Yeah, and in the future, once this ICA agreement is in place, and then we're at sheriff's sale a lot more often, what does that look like? Does the quiet title get cheaper? I know this is a whole nother topic, but I'm just.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. The quiet title process is baked in to the sheriff's sale costs.
But we get
So
it clean. We get it clean at the.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. We should only be accruing the cost for exoneration to address those inheritance tax liens. Maybe not in every case. But yeah, that is correct. And I think it's good to point out here too. So our future sheriff's sale process, that will be initiated by the Pittsburgh Land Bank. We'll identify the tax delinquent property and we'll make that request from the 3 taxing bodies who approved the sale and request to be put into the inventory. In this case, there was a lender that was foreclosing on the house for a mortgage that had not been paid. So we have different standing in that case when we don't initiate the sheriff's sale.
Right. Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Sally for her leadership in making this happen. As I mentioned in council chambers when Sally was presenting at the city council budget hearing, one thing I may have not have mentioned when we discussed this last month, that my father actually worked with Teenie Harris in the 1950s at the Pittsburgh Foyer, and our families go way, way back. And so, this was something that was important to me. I really appreciate everybody else's support in doing this and really adding a new spin on the idea of, bringing properties, back to productive use. and and recycling properties, to lose, what hopefully will soon be a monument, to the legacy of one of the 20th century's great photographers. To lose that opportunity, I think, is another example of the value of what the land bank, can be for the city of Pittsburgh. So I just wanted to mention that briefly, and thank Sally and everybody else for supporting this.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm.
Yeah, thanks for those comments. I have to say, it was about 2 days before the news broke that the land bank had acquired this house, the Teeny Harris house at sheriff sale. I had the opportunity to see the new exhibit at the Carnegie Museum, and everyone should go check that out. It's a great exhibit. All right. All those in favor of resolution number 120, please report by saying aye.
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 Any noes or abstentions? Motion passes. And moves us on to legislative updates. Sally?
Yes, ending the agenda today with our ongoing intergovernmental cooperation agreement. So having had some really productive conversations with the city of Pittsburgh, and are looking forward to getting a draft out here very soon.
Yeah, I know it seems like it's the same update, but I think what we're not, telling the public or telling, um, in this public meeting might be the same note here every time, but there is drafts that have been going back and forth between the city law, land bank, our you could explain further, Sally, our outside counsel. So the next draft will go to the city and in probably a couple days here, and looking forward to the continued discussion. Sorry, I just want to elaborate a little bit.
No, thank you, Chair. That's exactly right. All right.
All right. Does that move us on to public comment? Was that okay? This is our second public comment. We do it at the first part of the meeting, beginning of the meeting, and also the end. If you wish to speak during public comment, please raise your hand using the raise hand function in the bottom of the screen. Please begin with your name, address, or neighborhood, or you can use your organization affiliation. Each speaker has 3 minutes to address the board. Are there any raised hands in the attendees? I'm seeing no raised hands. Attendees going once, going twice. Okay. And that brings us to, we can see here on our meeting schedule. I'm sorry, our 2025 board meeting schedule here is below. And once again, our next meeting will be in February 14th. Is that here?
That's it.
Is that
Yes.
on Valentine's Day?
Oops. Yes.
Trying to do
Yes.
All right. All right. With that, does anyone have anything further? All right. Well, want to motion to adjourn here in a second. Before we do, I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas and all the holidays that I hope you enjoy your holiday, and a Happy New Year as well. I hope everyone has a great New Year. Looking forward to seeing everyone in February. And with that, we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All right. I heard a
Pulling
second.
it down.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. 2025.
Yes.
Have a great one.